The numbers don't lie, Mr. Al-Jamil, and neither do I. This company is heading for disaster.
There are moments in life when silence feels safer than truth, when speaking up means risking everything, your job, your safety, even your future. But for one woman named Maya Williams, silence was no longer an option. She wasn't powerful or rich. She was just one person, a quiet analyst in a company where truth was something they buried under billions. Yet in a world built on deceit, one voice can shake the walls of power. Maya worked for one of the world's most influential corporations, Glenrose Capital. From the outside, it looked like a tower of innovation and global charity. Inside, it was a machine of control. Her job was simple: verify data for internal reports. But in truth, she was invisible. The kind of employee who spoke softly, kept her head down, and worked late after everyone left. Every day she walked through the marble lobby, watching executives in $1,000 suits pass her by without even seeing her. Yet she noticed everything: the numbers, the small inconsistencies, the tiny shifts in transaction patterns that didn't make sense. At first, she thought it was just a mistake. Then she found a name that shouldn't have been there: Philip Warren, the company's legal counsel, the man everyone feared. He was connected to off-book transfers routed through shell charities. The money trail vanished into private accounts overseas. Maya's gut told her something was wrong, but she was just an analyst, and people like her didn't accuse people like him. One night she stayed late. The office was empty except for the hum of the servers. She opened a secure audit file she wasn't supposed to access, and there it was. Dozens of transfers labeled environmental reallocation, but they weren't going to forest projects. They were feeding political campaigns and personal accounts. Her heart pounded as she printed the documents, sealed them in a file, and hid them inside her desk. But someone had noticed. The next morning, her system access was restricted. Her ID flagged. An email appeared: "Please see legal immediately." Inside the conference room, Philip Warren sat at the head of the table, flanked by 2 security officers. His smile was cold. "Maya," he said softly, "you've been accessing restricted data. Care to explain why?" She tried to steady her voice. "I was cross-checking reports." There were discrepancies, but Philip interrupted, leaning forward. "Let me give you some advice. Curiosity can end careers." She left that room shaking. She knew she couldn't stay silent anymore. That night, she met with someone she'd only heard rumors about: Veronica Ellison, an investigative journalist blacklisted by most corporate outlets. They met in a dim cafe near the East River. Veronica listened quietly as Maya slid the files across the table. "This could destroy them," Veronica whispered. Maya nodded. "Then destroy them." For the next 2 weeks, the 2 women worked in secret, cross-referencing transfers, building a chain of proof that reached beyond Glenrose. They uncovered a network of disguised donations funding foreign lobbying efforts and hidden luxury assets. It wasn't just corporate fraud, it was global manipulation. But before they could release it, the company moved first. Security footage of Maya entering restricted servers was leaked. The media branded her a disgruntled employee. She was suspended, her email deactivated. In less than 24 hours, she became a ghost. Weeks later, a new opportunity surfaced: a global ethics summit in New York, hosted by Sheikh Hassan, the company's largest international investor. Veronica had a plan. If we can get the data to Hassan himself, we can bypass Glenrose entirely. So they did. Maya walked into the summit hall with trembling hands but a clear heart. Executives in tailored suits filled the room. Philip Warren sat just a few seats away from the sheikh, whispering in his ear. When the session opened for questions, Maya stood up. "Your Excellency," she began, her voice shaking, "I have evidence that Glenrose Capital has been funding illegal operations under the guise of environmental aid." The room fell silent. All eyes turned toward her, a single woman standing in front of titans. Philip's face went pale. "She's lying." But then Veronica stepped forward, holding a drive. "Then prove it," she said. "Because this contains every transaction, authorization, and forged signature. All of it." The sheikh looked at both women and nodded to his tech aide. Within minutes, the files projected onto the main screen. One by one, the transactions lit up the room, each transfer, each code, all tracing back to Philip Warren's authorization. The silence that followed felt like thunder. The sheikh stood. "Mr. Warren, you moved funds under false pretenses. What forest did you plant in Zurich?" A nervous laugh rippled through the room. Philip tried to protest, but it was over. Security stepped forward as Hassan gave the order. Remove him from the boardroom. Maya stood frozen, breathless. For once, truth had a voice. In the days that followed, Glenrose collapsed under federal investigation. News outlets across the world ran headlines about the whistleblower analyst. Maya's name became a symbol, not of rebellion, but of integrity. Sheikh Hassan personally offered her a position leading a new ethics and risk division, independent and untouchable by corporate influence. When he asked why she risked everything, she said, "Because truth only matters if someone's brave enough to carry it." Hassan smiled. "Then carry it further." Months later, Maya sat in her new office overlooking the city skyline. Outside, the world moved on. Another scandal, another story. But deep inside, she knew something had changed. Not just in her life, but in the balance of power itself. She had gone from invisible to unstoppable, from quiet observer to guardian of truth. As she stared at the sunrise over Manhattan, she whispered to herself the words her father once told her, the words that had carried her through fear and fire. Justice isn't about who shouts the loudest. It's about who refuses to stay silent. And Maya Williams never stayed silent again. If this story moved you, share it with someone who believes that truth still matters. Because sometimes courage doesn't roar. Sometimes it's a whisper that says, "Not today, not anymore."